In a distant future where humanity has colonized the stars, a young scientist discovers a mysterious signal emanating from a forgotten planet. As she delves deeper into its origins, she uncovers a hidden network of ancient civilizations that once thrived across the galaxy. But the signal is more than just a message. It's a warning. A force from beyond the stars is awakening, and it's coming for Earth. Can she stop it before it's too late? Subscribe now to experience echoes of the ancients and join the fight for humanity's survival. In the year 3145, humanity had established colonies across the galaxy, but the vast majority of known space remained unexplored. Dr. Alara Quinn, a brilliant but introverted scientist, worked at the forefront of xenobiology, studying alien flora and fauna from distant worlds. Her latest assignment took her to the remote planet of Zolaris, a desolate world covered in endless dunes of silver sand. During a routine excavation, Alara's team unearthed something extraordinary: a small, intricately carved stone tablet. Its surface bore symbols that defied translation, each one shimmering with an ethereal glow. As she touched the tablet, a faint hum filled the air, and the symbols began to shift, forming a sequence of coordinates. "This isn't just a relic," Alara muttered, her heart pounding with excitement. "It's a message." Back at the research station, Alara and her colleagues spent days analyzing the tablet. The coordinates led to a nearby star system, one that had been deemed uninhabitable due to intense radiation. But the tablet's message suggested otherwise. "We need to go there," Alara insisted during a briefing. "This could be the key to unlocking the secrets of the ancients." The expedition to the star system was fraught with challenges. Their ship, the Aurora, had to navigate treacherous asteroid fields and harsh radiation belts. Alara spent countless hours in the cockpit, fine-tuning the navigation systems and preparing for the unknown. As they approached the designated coordinates, the crew detected a faint signal, weak but persistent. It was a transmission, but not in any known language. The signal's origin was a planet called Elysium, a world shrouded in perpetual twilight. "This is it," Alara said, her voice filled with anticipation. "Let's get ready to land." The landing was smooth, but the moment they stepped onto Elysium's surface, they knew something was wrong. The air was thick with an electric charge, and the ground beneath their feet seemed to hum with latent energy. Strange structures, half buried in the sand, hinted at a civilization long forgotten. "We're not alone," Alara whispered, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Someone or something has been here recently." Exploring the ruins revealed a society far more advanced than anything humanity had encountered. Towering spires, intricate carvings, and complex machinery suggested a culture that had mastered both technology and nature. But the most striking discovery was a massive circular structure at the center of the city. A temple, perhaps, or a control hub. Inside, the team found a central console surrounded by holographic displays. The console pulsed with energy, and as Alara approached, the symbols on the tablet aligned with the display, forming a coherent message. "The ancients were not just observers," Alara translated. "They were protectors." The message detailed a cataclysmic event that had wiped out their civilization thousands of years ago. In response, they had constructed a network of defensive systems across the galaxy, designed to warn future civilizations of an impending threat. But what threat? Alara wondered aloud, her mind racing. The message left no doubt. A force known as the Void was approaching. It was a malevolent entity that consumed entire galaxies, leaving nothing but emptiness in its wake. The ancients had managed to contain the Void, but their defenses were weakening, and the containment barrier was on the verge of collapsing. "The Void is coming," Alara said grimly, "and it's heading straight for Earth." Panicked discussions ensued back at the research station. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond, but the sheer scale of the threat left them paralyzed. Meanwhile, Alara and her team worked tirelessly to decode additional messages hidden within the ancient ruins. "These relics are more than just warnings," Alara explained during a briefing. "They're instructions. We need to activate the defensive systems before it's too late." The team's first task was to locate and activate a defensive system on a neighboring planet. The system, hidden beneath the surface of a desert world, was massive, dozens of kilometers wide and brimming with energy. As they approached, the ground trembled, and the air crackled with static. "This is it," Alara said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Let's do this." Activating the system required interfacing with the central core, a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with an eerie light. As Alara connected, the system's energy surged through her, triggering a series of holographic displays that outlined the next steps. "The void is closer than we thought," Alara reported. "We need to hurry." As Alara interfaced with the central core, the defensive system's energy surged through her, triggering a series of holographic displays that outlined the next steps. The system was vast, spanning multiple layers of technology, each designed to reinforce the containment barrier against the approaching void. The first activation required synchronizing the system with the central core of another nearby planet. "The void is closer than we thought," Alara reported. "We need to hurry." Back at the research station, the team prepared to deploy to the next planet, a lush jungle world known as Verdantis. The jungle was dense, with towering trees and vines that seemed to move on their own. As they landed, the air was thick with humidity, and the ground beneath their feet pulsed with latent energy. "This place feels alive," one of the team members remarked, glancing nervously at the surrounding flora. Alara nodded, her mind already calculating the next move. "It's not just alive, it's connected. The ancients used this planet's natural resources to power their systems. We need to find the core." Guided by the holographic maps from the first planet, they ventured deeper into the jungle, hacking through thick vegetation and avoiding traps left by the ancients. Finally, they reached a massive tree, its bark shimmering with energy. The tree's roots intertwined with the ground, forming a network of conduits that fed into the central core. "This is it," Alara said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Let's do this." As she activated the core, the jungle around them came alive. Trees swayed in unison, vines coiled and uncoiled, and the air crackled with static. The defensive system's energy surged through the network, reinforcing the containment barrier. Word of their discoveries spread quickly, attracting both allies and adversaries. Among those who joined them was Dr. Leora Chun, a linguist specializing in ancient languages. Her expertise proved invaluable in deciphering additional messages from the ancient ruins, which revealed cryptic warnings about the void's origins and the ancients' ultimate fate. However, not everyone shared their altruistic goals. A shadowy organization known as the Order of the Veil emerged, intent on exploiting the defensive systems for their own gain. Led by the enigmatic Victor Kane, a former scientist turned rogue, they sought to harness the system's power to reshape reality itself. "They see this as an opportunity," Alara explained during a tense briefing. "To them, humanity is expendable if it means achieving ultimate control." Victor confronted Alara personally during a skirmish near the third activation site, a frozen tundra world. "You think you're saving the world?" he sneered. "You're just delaying the inevitable. Chaos will always find a way." Alara refused to back down. "Chaos isn't inevitable. Not while I'm still standing." 8. Into the unknown. Each activation brought new challenges and revelations. At the fourth site, a volcanic island in the Pacific Ocean, Alara experienced vivid visions triggered by her proximity to the core. She saw glimpses of a distant future where humanity had transcended its limitations, living in harmony with advanced technology and alien civilizations. "These aren't just warnings," Alara told her team during a rare moment of quiet. "They're possibilities. The defensive systems are showing us what could be, if we make the right choices." Her determination inspired the team to press on, even as fatigue and fear threatened to overwhelm them. The next site, a desert world known as Calypso, was particularly treacherous. Sandstorms battered their equipment, and the heat was unbearable. Yet, they persevered, driven by the knowledge that every activation brought them closer to securing humanity's future. The fifth activation site was hidden within the heart of a massive canyon on Mars, a world long thought to be devoid of life. The canyon was filled with ancient machinery, its gears and levers still functioning after millennia. As Alara approached the central core, she felt an overwhelming sense of familiarity, as if the system recognized her. "This feels alive," she whispered, placing her hand on the core. Instantly, the system emitted a surge of energy that resonated across the canyon. The ground trembled, and holographic projections materialized above the core. A map of the galaxy overlaid with glowing lines connecting various points. "It's showing us the network," Leora said, her voice filled with awe. "But why?" "Because it trusts us," Alara replied softly. "It's guiding us." The activation stabilized the region temporarily, reinforcing the containment barrier. But as they prepared to leave, shadowy figures emerged once more, drawn by the system's energy. This time they were larger, more menacing, and seemed capable of manipulating their surroundings. "We can't keep fighting them," Victor growled, reloading his weapon. "There has to be another way." Alara nodded grimly. "Then we'll have to outrun them and find answers faster." As the network stabilized, the defensive systems began transmitting a unified message, a countdown to a catastrophic event known as the convergence. According to the projections, multiple realities would collide, erasing entire dimensions, including their own. "We don't have much time," Alara said grimly during a global broadcast. "If we don't stop the convergence, everything we know will cease to exist." Her words sparked panic worldwide, but also unity. Nations set aside their differences, pooling resources and knowledge to combat the impending disaster. Even former adversaries like Victor Kane offered reluctant assistance, recognizing the gravity of the situation. Yet questions lingered. Why had the defensive systems chosen humanity to intervene? And what role did they truly play in the grand design of the cosmos? With time running out, Alara made a startling discovery. The defensive systems weren't just tools, they were fragments of a single entity that had sacrificed itself to preserve existence. Each fragment contained a shard of consciousness, guiding those who interacted with it toward a greater purpose. "You've been chosen," Leora said quietly after reviewing the data. "Not just to activate the systems, but to merge with them." Alara recoiled at the thought. "Merge? You mean become part of it?" Leora nodded solemnly. "It's the only way to stabilize the convergence. But it comes at a cost. You won't survive as you are." The revelation weighed heavily on Alara, but she knew there was no other choice. Humanity's survival depended on her willingness to sacrifice everything. The final activation site was located deep within the Arctic ice, surrounded by ancient ruins that hummed with residual energy. As Alara approached it, the air grew thick with anticipation. The system pulsed erratically, as if sensing her resolve. "This is it," she whispered, turning to face her team. "Whatever happens next, know that I did this for all of us." Victor stepped forward, his expression uncharacteristically soft. "You don't have to do this alone." "Yes, I do," Alara replied firmly. "But promise me one thing. Don't let my sacrifice be in vain." With that, she placed her hands on the system, allowing its energy to flow into her. Visions overwhelmed her senses, of countless lives saved and lost, of galaxies born and extinguished. She understood now. The defensive systems weren't just guardians. They were creators, tasked with preserving the multiverse's fragile balance. As Alara merged with the network, the defensive systems synchronized, forming a web of stability that spanned dimensions. The convergence dissipated, sparing Earth and countless other worlds from annihilation. Yet Alara was gone, her consciousness absorbed into the collective. Her sacrifice inspired a new era of cooperation and innovation. Under the guidance of Dr. Leora Chan and Victor Kane, now reformed, humanity embraced its role as stewards of the cosmos, working alongside alien civilizations to ensure the survival of all life. Monuments were erected in Alara's honor, not as memorials to a hero, but as reminders of what could be achieved through courage, compassion, and unity. In the wake of Alara's sacrifice, Earth underwent profound changes. The synchronization of the defensive systems not only stabilized the convergence but also unleashed a cascade of subtle alterations across the planet. Weather patterns normalized, ecosystems rejuvenated, and even human behavior seemed to shift toward greater empathy and cooperation. Dr. Leora Chun became a leading voice in this new era, dedicating her life to studying the defensive system's lingering influence. She discovered that their energy had imprinted on the collective consciousness of humanity, subtly guiding people toward decisions that prioritized harmony over conflict. "It's as if Alara is still with us," Leora said during a global symposium. "Her essence lives on through the network, reminding us of our interconnectedness." Yet, beneath the surface, tensions simmered. The Order of the Veil, though weakened, remained active, seeking ways to exploit the defensive system's residual energy. Their leader, Victor Kane, had gone underground, vowing revenge against those who had thwarted his plans. "He won't stop," Colonel Rourke warned during a private meeting. "Men like him always find a way." Years passed, and humanity's progress seemed unstoppable. Cities flourished under sustainable technologies, and interstellar diplomacy became the norm. Yet, whispers of unrest began to spread. Rumors of shadowy figures manipulating events from behind the scenes. Victor Kane resurfaced, more dangerous than ever. He had uncovered a hidden defensive system fragment buried beneath the ruins of an ancient civilization, untethered from the global network. This fragment, he believed, held the key to reversing the convergence's stabilization and rewriting reality itself. "We were meant to evolve," Victor declared during a clandestine broadcast. "But the defensive systems have chained us to mediocrity. It's time to break free." His words resonated with disenchanted factions, sparking rebellions across the globe. Governments scrambled to respond, but Victor's followers moved with precision, targeting vulnerable regions and exploiting societal fractures. Determined to prevent Victor from unraveling Alara's legacy, Leora and Rourke assembled a coalition of scientists, soldiers, and civilians united by a shared vision of peace. Among them was Dr. Elias Kane, Victor's estranged brother, who harbored guilt for failing to stop him years ago. "I know how his mind works," Elias admitted during a strategy session. "He'll go after the Arctic system first. It's the nexus of the network." The team raced against time, braving treacherous conditions to reach the site before Victor. What they found there chilled them to the bone. The system's glow had dimmed significantly, its energy destabilizing. "He's already been here," Rourke growled, surveying the damage. "If we don't act fast, the entire network could collapse." The confrontation took place at the Arctic site, now fortified by Victor's forces. Armed with advanced weaponry powered by the rogue fragment, they overwhelmed the coalition's defenses. Casualties mounted, and hope began to wane. Amidst the chaos, Leora made a desperate decision. Using data recovered from Alara's research, she devised a plan to amplify the network's energy, forcibly severing Victor's connection to the rogue fragment. But doing so required someone to interface directly with the Arctic system, a task that would likely prove fatal. "I'll do it," Elias volunteered, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "It's my fault he got this far. Let me make it right." Before anyone could protest, Elias activated the system, channeling its energy into a massive pulse that engulfed the outpost. Victor screamed in rage as the rogue fragment shattered, its power dissipating into nothingness. When the light faded, Elias was gone, leaving behind only silence. With Victor defeated and the network restored, humanity entered a golden age of exploration and innovation. Under Leora's leadership, the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, expanded its mission, sending expeditions to study similar systems on other worlds. Each discovery deepened their understanding of the cosmos and their place within it. One such expedition, led by Captain Mira Solon, uncovered evidence that the defensive system's creators had faced their own convergence millennia ago. Their survival had come at a cost, the fracturing of their species into countless alternate realities. "They chose fragmentation over extinction," Mira explained during a debriefing. "And now we're living proof that their gamble paid off." Inspired by these revelations, humanity embraced its role as guardians of existence, ensuring that no world would face the same fate alone. Decades later, Leora stood atop a hill overlooking New Horizon City, a sprawling metropolis built around the Arctic system. Monuments to Alara and Elias adorned its central plaza, drawing visitors from across the galaxy. Children played amidst holographic projections of constellations, their laughter echoing through the air. "You've done well," a familiar voice whispered behind her. Leora turned to see Alara, or rather a projection of her consciousness, preserved within the network. Though ephemeral, her presence was unmistakable. "Did we succeed?" Leora asked, tears welling in her eyes. "You did more than that," Alara replied with a gentle smile. "You gave the universe a chance to thrive. Now it's up to them to carry the torch." As the projection faded, Leora felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity's journey was far from over, but the path ahead was brighter than ever. Under Captain Mirasolin's command, humanity ventured deeper into the cosmos, forging alliances with alien civilizations and uncovering mysteries that defied comprehension. Each discovery reinforced a simple truth: existence was fragile, yet infinitely resilient. Among the explorers was Dr. Cale Armitage, Alara's great-grandniece, who dedicated her life to studying the defensive system's creators. Her work revealed startling insights. The creators had foreseen their own demise, embedding fragments of their consciousness into the systems as a safeguard against oblivion. "They trusted us," Cale said during a lecture aboard the starship Ecliptica-. "Not because we're perfect, but because we're capable of change." As the ship sailed toward uncharted stars, its crew gazed out at the infinite expanse, filled with wonder and possibility. The defensive systems had given them a gift, not just survival but the opportunity to shape the future. "We're not just explorers," Cale concluded. "We're dreamers, and the universe is waiting. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling journey through mystery and survival." If you enjoyed Echoes of the Ancients, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our next adventure. Your support keeps the story alive.